Hey guys, looks like it's beer 30. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from Troegs Brewing Company. They're out of Hershey, Pennsylvania. This is their Troegenator Double Bock, or Doppelbock, however you want to call that. Bourbon barrel aged version with the cork in the cage on top of it. Looks like a very pricey beer. This is sent to me by Rico, and he writes, bourbon barrel aged Troegenator, 10.8% Doppelbock, aged for 6 months in oak bourbon barrels, brewed with chocolate, Munich, and Pilsner malts. 25 IBUs according to the brewery's official website. He said he picked it up last week, and this beer was $13 for what you see here in front of me. Little pricey. Says bottle 2017 on the label, and then first brewed it in 2014. So very, well, I won't say very, but kind of pricey at $13 a bottle for this small bottle, but it's barrel aged, bourbon barrel aged on top of that, and being 10.8% on top of that. So this calls for the Pilsner glass, Poco Mug, Seidel. I'm not going to bring out the Pilsner glass for this. I'm going to pour it in this solid beer glass today, guys. Going against the grain there. Yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm known for that. I rub a lot of people the wrong freaking way. But guess what? I don't give a rat's ass. It's my show. I can do what I want to. Imagine that. Alright, guys. Commercial description says the Troegenator has awoken. After hibernating for 6 months in bourbon barrels, we're excited to report that bourbon barrel aged Troegenator is ready for release. The barrel aging process has transformed Troegenator into a lush double bock with undertones of vanilla oak and toasted coconut and warm blanket of tangy bourbon notes. Sounds very tasty, guys. So, and they corked and caged this, which adds a little cost to that. They can do whatever they want to. They could just easily put this in a bottle or a bomber and put a cap on it, as far as I'm concerned, unless it's blowing the caps off the top of it with the carbonation. A lot of times that's why they do the cork and cage, other than charging you more for the beer. So, don't know what their excuse is, but I've had the Troegenator. It's okay. I mean, it's a good beer. It's not outstanding to me. It's not something I'd write home about or I'd regularly pick up at the grocery store or whatever, but it's a decent beer. It's a nice change from what I typically drink. So, that's everything we need to talk about. So, let's get the cage and the cork out of this bad boy. And a lot of times it's a chore to get this cork out of it. And sometimes as soon as I take this cap off, the cork wants to come out by itself. So we never know what we're going to get, like Forrest Gump said. So let's see what we got here. Alright, it's coming out. Let's see what happens. Nice little pop. Not too much. Doesn't seem to be spewing all over the place. Seems to be very reconciled, if you will. Into the glass we go here. I will tell you the cuisine is German. Cheeses are buttery, brie, good Havarti Swiss. Your earthy cheeses, Camembert Fontina, goes well with your chocolate dishes, and the meat is game. Glassware, like I told you, the Pilsner, Poco, Mug, Seidel. I'm using my favorite tulip glass today on this one, guys. You know why? Because I can. And it says here you can celebrate. I can't think of a reason why you could not. So, good looking. A nice brown color. I am getting some ruby red through the thin part of the glass here. I can't see the light right through it, but it is kind of brown or a deep mahogany color up here in the big bowl part. A lot of bubbles streaming up, reinforcing that head. About a half a finger of head or so on this pour. Let's get it to the nose. I am getting a rich roasted malt and caramel and toffee. Not big bourbon notes on the nose. 6 months in the barrel. Not getting on the nose, but it's cold right out of the fridge. Sometimes those will open up a little bit more as it comes up to room temperature. But not getting that off-the-chain bourbon notes. Maybe some molasses in there. Got a very nice sweet smell to it. A lot like a barley wine would have. Smells decent. So let's dive in and see what we got. Cheers everybody. Cheers Rico. A very nice Doppelbock. But as far as being in a bourbon barrel for 6 months, to me it tastes like they weren't first run bourbon barrels. I'm not getting that heavy bourbon notes. A little disappointed, especially since he paid $13 for this bottle. Maybe it'll open up a little bit more as it warms up, but not getting on the nose and not getting it on the taste, guys. There may be a twinge of some bourbon in there. If you didn't tell me it was bourbon barrel, I probably would not be able to tell by smelling it or tasting it. That's a little disappointing to me, guys. I was expecting this to have big bourbon notes. To me, it tastes like an Imperial Doppelbock, not bourbon barrel aged. Well, let's let it warm up before I start hacking on it and see if I can get any of those notes as it comes up to room temperature. Seems like a tasty beer, but the bourbon notes are very subdued, guys. So very, very subdued. So let me sip on it. I'll be right back and we'll see where this one ends up. Alright guys, I'm back. Got a little bit left here. Very nice place to get stuff on there. Now that it's warmed up, I am getting a slight hint of some bourbon in there. Not much. It is so subdued, guys. I don't know if I could even tell that it was bourbon barreled if I was blindfolded or did not know what I was drinking. It is a very nice Doppelbock. The alcohol, to be 10.8%, is very well hidden. So I know it's a very well made beer. I'm just concerned that it was not put in first run bourbon barrels. And they left it in there 6 months. I mean, it should have a big, bold bourbon note to it, and it does not. So I don't know if I can justify paying that much for this bottle, being corked in K's and being a little on the pricey side, for a bourbon barrel aged Doppelbock that doesn't have big bourbon notes to it. But maybe that's what they were shooting for. Maybe they wanted subtle bourbon notes. So I do think it's a well-made beer. I did enjoy this beer. But as far as me purchasing this beer, now that I've had it, if I had not had it before, I would probably have sprung for that much money. But now that I've had it and getting the notes that I'm getting on it, I probably would not buy this beer. I probably wouldn't. Not for the price they're asking for this. So, but I do think it's a very well-made beer. I just wish the bourbon notes were a little more prominent than what they are right now. So, final chug. Very smooth, very easy drinking beer for a magnitude of 10.8%. I do think it's an A beer, guys, but I don't think it's a 10. And I'm going to give this a 95, right straight down the middle of the A category. A pricey beer for very subtle bourbon notes, but like I said, that may be what they were after. Maybe they didn't want something that was overpowering in the bourbon. This is what they want. This is that subtle bourbon notes. Slight hint of a little bit of vanilla. I'm not getting any coconut or anything like that on the beer. More roasted malt, toffee, caramel, molasses. but it is very easy drinking, a very pleasant beer, a great beer for the final beer of the evening, which it is for me. Once again, Rico, my brother, thanks again. Love you, brother. This is very tasty, but not to the A plus 10 category. So 95 for me, A. That's what I'm giving it. Over to Beer Advocate, they say 91. I'm giving it a better grade than that. Over to Rate Beer shows 96 overall, 98 in the style. I'm not going there, not quite the grade that they're giving it. And final check-in over to Untapped, they have it at 4.22. That's in their A category also, guys. So decent beer, very well made beer for the alcohol content it is. Just wish the bourbon notes were a little more prominent than what I'm getting for something that was in the bourbon barrel for 6 months. So, but like I said, that may be what they were after. Maybe they was after something with a little subtle bourbon notes and something that wasn't overpowering. I like a little heavier bourbon notes on something that you're paying a premium price for that had been in a bourbon barrel for 6 months. So, to me, I'm thinking the bourbon barrels weren't first run bourbon barrels. Had beer in them before. So, if you've had this one from Troegs Independent Brewing, this is the Bourbon Barrel Aged Troegenator. Bourbon Barrel. Let me know what you think, guys. Come on back tomorrow. Let's see what's in the fridge. See you then.